Howdy, life setters. Welcome to the farm. Want to share some thoughts and some things I've been thinking about lately. My friend Rick over at Old Camp Ranch was sharing the other day about some of the relics that he's found on his ranch there, his farm, and talking about some of the different pieces of pottery and arrowheads that he has found. And it really started making me think a lot about when I was a kid, and my grandfather had a small collection of those, and he lived in a area of the country where there was a lot of native presence. And it started making me think about some of the relics that have been left here on my property. And honestly, most of them are junk. We had a junk pile where, all the pop, cans and glassware and, anything that they collected where we didn't really have a roadside dumpster service came. And, so we had the pile, and I sorted through and recycled what I could. Back in the woods, I've got a roll of what used to be fencing, and now it's just a roll of rust with a tree growing through it. And when we bought the farm, we had an old barn, and it looked pretty, but it was rotten. And now we bought this property in 2010, and the previous owner's family had passed it down since 1867. So the same family just kind of ran this property. About 3 years ago, we were finishing up on this barn here, and we dismantled the old barn, and it sat on those rocks right there. And so there was no basement, there's no foundation. It just sat on rocks. Mostly kept some things dry, but was a good housing for coons and possums and cats and whatnot. We had it dismantled, recycled what we could, and that was the best life it could finish with. So as we were doing excavating, we did excavating in early summer, and then prepared to have it built. And as I was walking around shortly after they were doing the grade work on the back side of this barn, walking around with dreams in my head and kind of visions of what things could look like. I looked down and looked down on the ground, and I saw this rectangle shaped piece laying flat on top of the mud. And this here is my favorite relic from this farm. And you can see what it is. That is an extremely worn. Let's see if I can focus for you, huh? Just a stone. Sharpening stone. And I have a couple old pictures of that gentleman that bought this place in 1867. I've got a family picture of the old house that was here before it burned down in 1917, and then we bought half of what we have now. And but this stone right here I mean, just like those arrowheads that Rick showed us, this stone here, I think about the hours that this was used sharpening knives and sharpening tools and sharpening you know, a scythe before they cut hay, and just the hours that this stone probably sat in some guy's hand. It makes my makes my little life seem pretty small when I think about how much time it's sat in someone's hand. And so this is where my thoughts turn. My thoughts turn to, what kind of relics do you guys have that you found on your farm? Now, I found old, completely wood-handled shovels, you know, a 1-gallon jug, some odds and ends, but this stone by far is something that I hold close. So I'm going to put a challenge out. I'm going to put a kind of an open-ended tag to some of the people that watch the channel. And I'm not going to put any kind of timeline on this. Give me a video response. You know, what kind of relic have you found on your farm? Your little homestead, your little place in the woods. What have you found? And yeah, does it mean anything to you, or is it just junk? So, hey, thanks for joining me. Stay warm. Have a good day. Bye now.